Thank you so much for being here today with us. It's an exciting day. My name is Terry Burgess-Sandu. I am proud to serve as the Director of Talent and Business Innovation here at Lorain County Community College, part of our Business Growth Services team, and to be a 2018 Nexflex Fellow. I'm going to be serving as your MC today. We have just some wonderful things in store for you. I'm going to introduce our president, Dr. Marcia Ballinger, who is the college's 5th president, and prior to that served a number of roles. Under her leadership, we're very proud that the college has recently earned 2 of the top national honors for excellence in student success.
Thank you so much, Terry. It is wonderful to see all of you here today and to welcome you to Lorain County Community College. We're proud, Terry, of you. And it's through this partnership with Nexflex, which began 7 years ago, that Lorain County Community College became the first organization outside of San Jose, California, to replicate Flex Factor. Flex Factor is an outreach, recruitment, and STEM education program to familiarize K-12 students with advanced manufacturing technology, entrepreneurship, and education and career pathways that leads to a STEM career. It's layered over an existing K-12 class, and it challenges small teams of students to identify real-world problems, conceptualize an advanced hardware product that is enabled by flexible hybrid electronics, and build a business model around it. We felt that that program was a natural fit for Lorain County Community College, given our nationally recognized strength in semiconductor and microelectronic manufacturing. Then, with the support of our college foundation, we launched the program in 2018 with 13 students who were part of our early college high school based here on our campus that we deliver in partnership with Elyria City Schools. Under the leadership of Deanna Strauss-Hersko, Carlos Delgado, and our ongoing partnership with Nexflex, Flex Factor has expanded statewide to 13 community colleges, and now we have gone from 13 students to 3,000 students in Ohio. The expansion of that program beyond Lorain County was made possible by a $5 million investment through the Manufacturing Engineering Education Program through the Department of Defense. Flex Factor reaches a broad spectrum of students who may not otherwise have considered a STEM field. To date, 39% of Flex Factor participants are students of color. 70% are from underserved communities, and 49% are young women. At LCCC, we're excited to have Flex Factor as one of our core strategies for reaching these new audiences who represent a powerful source of untapped talent for the advanced manufacturing industry. To bring Flex Factor to life, it is now my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Ron Yonts, who is our Director of Digital Media Communications, and he's going to facilitate our Flex Factor student demonstration showcase with 3 student teams. Ron, take it away.
It is time now to meet the young students who are going to really impress all of us in the room today. I am certain of it. There are 3 high schools from our local area, one from Steele High School in Amherst, Elyria High School right here, and then, of course, Olmsted Falls High School. We're going to start with Marion L. Steele High School in Amherst. This group is called MI Patch.
Thank you guys for having us. We have the MI Patch. So why did we select this? Heart disease is the leading killer in the U.S., Ohio being number 10. Thousands of people have heart attacks for the first time every year. My grandpa also had a heart attack a few years ago and did not know about it until it got really bad. So we came up with an idea to make sure they don't have to wait till it's too late.
The main problems with having a heart attack is that it can be very difficult to detect, especially in women. Most symptoms tend to blend in as other common illnesses and become overlooked until it becomes very dangerous and life-threatening. With these symptoms being overlooked, disease will worsen and possibly become fatal if not caught in time.
The MI patch, our monitor will detect and alert a patient of an oncoming heart attack. The patch will notify the user saying that they're getting symptoms and will send a text to their emergency contact, their phone, and 911. This is an example of our product. It'll go on the left pec, as you can see, and it will be attached like with a sticker. Our goal is to make the patch 100% transparent so that people do not become embarrassed or self-conscious about wearing it.
On our patch, the sensor will detect the difference between normal body functions and the onset symptoms of a heart attack, such as tachycardia, arrhythmias, and excessive sweating. The processor determines if these symptoms are an onset heart attack, and the action, it will send a notification to their phone as well as an emergency contact along with 911. It powers this through Bluetooth and is powered through thermal energy through the body heat.
Our product will be made from a transparent, flexible electronic material that is less bulky and more comfortable compared to our competitors. It is Bluetooth compatible and comes at an affordable price. Our goal for MI Patch is to redesign the way heart attacks are acknowledged and treated by creating a less expensive and more reliable product compared to our competitors.
We are going to be partnering with Medtronic. It's a global leader in the medical technology, services, and solutions. We are planning on starting in Ohio and working with Cleveland Clinic, University Hospitals, and Metro Health. We will work with Nexflex to embed the flexible hybrid electronics into our patch. We will work our product into doctors' offices, and they will be able to distribute them to the patients that they feel would benefit from this. We will then advertise on billboards and brochures so patients know what to ask when they're seeing a doctor about our MI patch.
The cost for the materials to make the MI patch is approximately $24, with the cost of the item being around $48. In the first year, we plan to sell around 20,000 MI patches, which brings our total cost to create our product to about $962,000. The price we want to sell our product for is about $72, which would bring our total revenue to $1,443,000. In this case, we would profit about $481,000 with a gross profit margin of 33%.
Our product, MI Patch, will help prevent heart attacks and save lives. The patch will be connected to a patient's phone, family member's phone, and 911. The patch will be on a very small sticker patch that can be placed on the left chest near the heart. Our goal is to match a very discreet but yet life-saving patch so people can continue to live their normal lives.
All right, our next group is from Elyria High School, and they are called TechView.
We chose TechView because we know someone who currently struggles with an opioid addiction. Even though they're in rehab, sometimes the addiction is too strong for a 30-day program to handle. We're hoping that this product will help people who are struggling with or without rehab to not relapse and fall back into bad habits.
All right, so TechView is our device that deals with addiction. The first graph shows that overdose deaths has spiked from 2010 to 2019. Then in this other graph over here, it shows that those deaths went up to 39% after the global pandemic. Rehab works majority of the time, but most drug addicts relapse after that process, so we're hoping that our product could fix that problem. The buprenorphine band is a device that wraps around your wrist. The inside of the band has a patch with the prescription of the buprenorphine, which is right here. We have a prototype. The medicine is absorbed from the patch into the layers of the skin and into deeper layers. So this picture right here was our first design that we drew out, and then our final product was right there, and we laser cut it into the band.
TechView is a battery-powered device that will track the amount of buprenorphine that goes into the body. It detects how often you use it and alerts doctors once the patient takes more than 24 milligrams. The cost of one item is $192 for a selling price of $289. We're going to sell $2 million for a profit of over $192 million, or 33%. For our product, we hope to partner with Nexflex, Metro Health and Cleveland Clinic, which are two of the largest clinics in Northeast Ohio, for the buprenorphine doses. Fitbit to track the usage. Wristband Resources would provide the band. SAMHSA, which is Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, and the National Institute on Drug Abuse to team with helping the abusers and get them back on track with rehab.
Our competition. So the TechView device administers the meds, tracks how much and how often the meds is given, and it also alerts the doctors of how much they are given, while the Buchan's Patch and Rehabilitation Centers only do 2 of those.
Feel ew, get bu.
Our third and final presentation today is from Olmsted Pulse High School.
Hello, we are Moon Valley, and today we are presenting the Balanced Belly Band. I'm Reagan Westerfield, the graphic designer and implementation manager.
And I'm Kaylee Kolakowski, and I'm the salesperson.
And then unfortunately, Carmine could not be here with us today. So our personal connection is that my mom experienced a miscarriage, so we wanted to develop a product that would help with this problem. The possibility of miscarriages can cause stress throughout the trimesters, which leads to high blood pressure. And then high-risk pregnancies need to monitor temperature, blood pressure, heart rate, and contractions throughout the trimesters.
There are 3.6 million babies born every year in the U.S., and 10 to 15 in 100 pregnancies end in miscarriages, and high blood pressure needs to be monitored during the pregnancies.
So our solution is the Balanced Belly Band, which is a 2-strap reusable belly band that utilizes FHE technology in order to monitor the temperature, heart rate, blood pressure, and contractions. And the sensors themselves are not harmful to the mother or the baby, waterproof and ultra-thin. This 24/7 monitoring combines the hospital-only sensors with home sensors to create an all-in-one product that utilizes our free app as well to track the data. So to convert the data, we utilize Bluetooth from our sensors, and then if any of the vitals go out of range, we will alert our user with a beeping noise from the band itself, as well as a notification from our app, and then you can send that information over to your doctor. And then our product is powered by a lithium coin cell battery.
So we're going to manufacture at Toolong, and it's locally in Cincinnati, Ohio. And we are going to distribute at Walmart, Target, Amazon, and personal website, and delivered by the USPS. And we're going to market with YouTube, television commercials, Instagram, and pregnancy blogs.
So as far as our competitors go, would be a belly band by itself without any technology included. So, and that retails for $39.99, so it's more expensive than our product, which includes technology. And then another competitor would be the actual sensors that the hospitals use to monitor pregnant women. So our product features a double band that is transportable with 24/7 monitoring. And we offer at a lower price than our competitor of the regular belly band. We also utilize sustainable packaging, as well as donating a percentage of our profits to Planned Parenthood. And then our app will send alerts and feedback to the doctor, as well as we will also have a place for our customers to give feedback about our app and our product so we can improve. Some objections that we considered is that this may be a one-time purchase for a mother, but our ultimate goal is for it to be covered by private insurance, as well as Medicaid for low-income households, and then selling directly to the Cleveland Clinic maternity division. Until then, we will be promoting on pregnancy registry sites and high-risk pregnancy blogs to ultimately have the goal of having midwives incorporate our band into their services as a win-win solution.
Our customers would include first-time moms or high-risk moms, moms with pregnancy complications or concerns, and women who are unable to make too frequent hospital visits. And in year 1, we're planning to sell 5,000 units, and in year 2, 8,500 units, in year 3, 20,000 units. The total cost with everything together would be $12.79, and the cost of one item would be $25,000 $25.58 with like labor. And the revenue would be $1.3 million, and the gross profit is 33%.
And then we are Moonbelly, and we thank you to the moon and back.
I have been told by top administration at Nexflex that we're just going to ask one standard question about their experience, how Nexflex has helped you grow.
The program made us aware that you can monitor our health by using flexible hybrid electronics. That's what you're saying, just our biggest problem was figuring out what dosage we could use in order for them not to overdose. We researched and figured out it was 24 milligrams, and you cannot overdose on buprenorphine. We learned how to collaborate with peers and learned how to display our thoughts and promote our ideas to other people.
Through this program, we learned a lot about, number one, being comfortable in front of audiences, because we made it through various rounds of competitions, so we've presented many times with our little presentation, and we got more comfortable speaking in front of audiences, as well as learning what it takes to really create a concept, and then up to developing a product with marketing campaigns and obstacles, things that you wouldn't normally consider. So yeah, now we're a lot more focused on our business skills and aspects, because we might not have known how good we were at it before.
So being from Amherst, we are in the MedTech program, which isn't really a STEM-focused class. So with Flex Factor, it helped us step into a field other than just hands-on patient care. So it was really nice to be able to see another perspective of how we can help in the health field. We learned a lot of communication skills. Even just using technology was a nice view, and we learned a lot of skills like public speaking and things like that.
So it's now my pleasure to welcome Dr. Malcolm Thompson, who serves as the Executive Director of Nexflex.
It's really important that we create links from programs like Flex Factor to STEM education pathways while students are still in high school. Those partnerships with community colleges like this wonderful Lorain County organization are integral to our success. So just as a bit of background, the Department of Defense launched Nexflex along with 8 other manufacturing innovation institutes to advance U.S. global leadership in technologies of the future and to develop a domestic manufacturing base. Our technology is focused on additive manufacturing, hybrid electronics, which have a wide variety of commercial and defense applications. Manufacturing is the engine of the American economy. It drives economic prosperity, national security, and public health, all of which benefits from the technological advances we are creating, and that's our goal. We support efforts in Washington that provide funding for advanced technology projects, commercialization, and at the same time education and training programs, just like Flex Factor. On behalf of Nexflex, thank you for joining us today. It's a very special day, and a special thank you to Secretary Walsh. Thank you so much for being here. And Nexflex members. LCC, thank you, Boeing, for all they've done for us, including the award that they gave us, to EWI and RP&M and Sentinel for helping to shine a light on the importance of education and workforce development in the U.S. economy.
Thank you so much. And without further ado, I am really pleased to welcome Ms. Leanne Corrett, Executive Vice President and Senior Advisor to the Boeing Company. She has a really exciting announcement.
Well, thank you, everyone. So I will not take a lot of time because I know it's a packed agenda. What I have to share with you is it is an honor and a blessing for the Boeing Company to pay it forward today with a donation to Nexflex. We are incredibly excited about this opportunity. You heard of Dr. Robert Smith, who's in the back of the room, who sits on the board and helps chair. But I have to share with you all, I'm on a panel here in a little bit, and I was looking at all the name tags, and there's all these PhDs. I thought, this is just not going to be a good day. But I have to tell you, every PhD sitting up here, they need to worry about you all, because you all are the future. It is amazing the products that you all are conceptualizing, how you'll bring it to industry, how you will change the world. There is greatness in each of you. You all are the next greatest generation. Everything you all have been through, from the pandemic, from the financial crisis, the war. Thank you for everything that you all do, and thank you to your families. So with that, I'm actually going to turn the stage over to our next speaker, and appreciate very much the honor to be here today. Thank you.
Now we are going to welcome, and it's really an incredible honor to be able to introduce our next guest, the Honorable Martin J. Walsh, who was sworn in as our nation's 29th Secretary of Labor in March 2021. Secretary Walsh previously served as the mayor of Boston, as a state representative for the state of Massachusetts, and as a leader of the Building and Construction Trades Council. He is a lifelong champion of equity and fairness, and we are so incredibly honored to have you here today. Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you so much, and thank you for, to be honest with you, I didn't know what to expect today. I knew I was coming to the school, and I knew I was going to be walking around and doing a tour, which we do, and I was in the room down the hallway, and I saw some great students and some great technology about the future of America. And then we walked in here and we saw you guys. Your presentations were absolutely phenomenal. What you're talking about in your products are amazing. And I thought about just how you presented, number one, was incredible. But the products you each have and what you talked about, the need for them in America today is so important. So I want to say thank you. We should give the young people a round of applause, because they're absolutely amazing. I'm here today for a bunch of different reasons. One is I'm the Secretary of Labor, and you're probably like, what does the Secretary of Labor do? We make sure there's a whole bunch of portfolio things that we do, but what we're really focused on, what I'm really focused on is workforce development and job training, and making sure that we're in a unique situation in our country at this moment. We're coming out of a once-in-a-century pandemic. We have a president who's really focused on looking at what's happened in this country over the last 2 years, really thinking about manufacturing, and losing a lot of our manufacturing in this community right here, in this state right here. We've lost our manufacturing overseas, and we're seeing in supply chain issues. When you hear about supply chain issues, supply chain issues, people often think it's boats coming into the harbor unloading the boats. No, that's not the issue. The supply chain issue is that we're too dependent on some of these microchips and things being made in other parts of the world. And we think about, how do we do job training and workforce development? And when the president took me in the back room and we started talking about what's happening here, and when we talked about Boeing, about how 4-year degrees aren't necessarily always the things that needed, but certificates, and how do we workforce development train people while they're getting these certificates, but also getting their education. And then we see these amazing young people come up on the stage here, who came up and created a product. It's an idea that's turned into a product on paper, that with some innovation, technology, and some help from some of the companies they're looking for, and some companies in this room, they take that from an idea on a piece of paper in a presentation and make it a reality. And those products that they're creating save lives. And I think as we think about President Biden and the Bipartisan Inflation Act, is how do we make sure that we're getting these some companies in this room, continuing to invest in the United States of America. And it's an all-of-government approach, because it's the Department of Labor making sure that we continue to get grants to community colleges all across America that are doing amazing things. It's making sure the Department of Defense continues to support colleges like this. It's important to make sure that Commerce, and the Secretary of Commerce, who's a dear friend of mine, continues to invest. And education, how do we continue to grow and make sure that these programs all work? We have a unique moment in time. I often think about when I was the mayor of Boston, I used to think about, how do you take a situation that's tough and turn it into a positive? And how do you take what we have in our school, in our city, and turn it around? And now, as the Secretary of Labor, and talking to President Biden and Vice President Harris, this is a potentially once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for us to do some amazing things. I completely went off my script here. But I think, when we think about, I'm going to wrap it up here, because I know we're going to have a conversation. I'm not a PhD. I'm nowhere close to being a PhD. So all those technical questions you can ask those folks, and if you want to ask about the Patriots, I'll answer those ones. But anyway, you know, when you think about the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act and the next steps that are important, we want to continue to advance U.S. global leadership and technology in the future. Those microchips that Intel is going to be producing here in this state was created in the United States of America. And at this point, we really don't create many of them here at all, pretty much none of them. And we have a unique opportunity with this, with the Intel investment, but also with the bipartisan bill that's hopefully will pass through the Senate and the House. The investment will quadruple here in that one company here in the United States of America, but never mind across the country. We need to continue to work to strengthen our domestic manufacturing. We need to continue to expand STEM education with equity. We talk about the word equity. You know, when you think about equity, for me, what I think about equity is creating a pathway into the middle class. It's about all communities in our cities and towns and rural America, making sure they have an opportunity to get into the middle class. The numbers don't lie. I'm a kind of a data geek a little bit when I think about how do we make things better. The unemployment rate in the United States of America right now today, it might get better next week, but it's 3.6% as of last month. The unemployment rate in white America is 3.6%. The unemployment number for black Americans is 7.2%, double that. And people can say, well, you know, we got to do something about it. It was double before the pandemic, and it was double before that. So we really have an opportunity. We have a unique opportunity to make sure that these young people that are here today, and young people that aren't in this room here today, that they think about what their careers are. All these young people have a career picked out. A lot of them do anyway. We heard about it. You know, whether it's a chiropractor or it's a nurse practitioner, emergency room nurse, things like that. But I want these young people to have an opportunity in the next 4 years to think about, wait a second, I wanted to be a nurse. Nothing wrong with it. It's a great profession. We need nurses, by the way. But I might want to go into advanced manufacturing, creating microchips so that we can continue to move our American economy forward and create more jobs. That's what this is all about. So again, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for having us here today. I'm going to do everything I can with Jenny and the Department of Labor to continue to push workforce development money and continue to push money into community colleges, because that's the answer for our future. It's about preparing people for the future, preparing young people and people that are getting reskilled in the future for the jobs of the future. The jobs of the future are right here. What we want to do is build on that, continue to build on that, bring those jobs back to the United States of America, and start to be less reliant so that we can have a future where our young people can work and we can also be sending stuff across the world. So thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Walsh. And finally, we have one more speaker before we will move to the roundtable. So I want to welcome Dr. Jag Pamalopati, Acting Deputy Director of Research, Technology, and Laboratories in the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense at the Pentagon. He also leads the STEM Development Office within the Department of Defense, as well as many other leadership roles. Welcome.
President Ballinger had covered a lot of what I had to say about our manufacturing engineering education program. Lorain County Community College is one of our 13 partners that we had funded over the last couple of years. And I think they started in 2010. It was 2020. It's a 3-year program. And we found that even though we've lived in pandemic conditions the last several years, they've still been very productive programs. And so I think it's interesting to see how we move forward from that, but it's been a very productive program. I think Malcolm mentioned that this is one of 9 of the department's manufacturing innovation institutes. The department is actually, I think, proud to actually host, I think, over 50% of the manufacturing. With 16 of them across the federal agencies. We have 9 of them across the country, and so we find that those centers really support the innovation and the advancement that the department needs to maintain our technological superiority and really maximize the readiness of our military forces. We also find, and this is the key part of the educational workforce development aspect, and one that I've really focused on, and my office really focuses on, is that ability to create that next generation of talent. And I think if everyone flips to the back page of the handout, you'll see like the beginning circle is really what we're trying to do. So there is a future workforce. I think we've got a very good sense this afternoon from the presentations that it is a very knowledgeable, very talented future workforce. And really, right now, we look at that as an unengaged workforce. And so we look at the programs like Flex Factor and other programs to really engage them. It gives them a problem, a challenge problem that we in the department see, the nation sees, and allows them to really focus in on that and challenge them in that manner. Kind of just to provide a challenge for their career and perspective for their future. I own all the STEM programs in the department, and canonically we've been looking at kind of like at the bachelor's level or the master's and the PhD, but we recognize that that's not really the model. That's not the salient model anymore. There is a model that involves certificates, 2 years associate's degree, and really to build up that next generation workforce. We really need to be adoptive of all of those approaches to make sure that we have the workforce that we need in the future. I want to thank everyone. I want to particularly thank the students. Every year when I go through my STEM programs and I get to listen to students, it always amazes me that the level of work that they're doing now compared to what I did in high school, and it was quite a few years ago that I went to high school, is just amazing. It's almost like the students now are doing beginning college level work. And in some cases, it's even higher than college level, almost graduate school work. And so I think it's very, that actually makes me very happy because it says that the next generation has a lot of inherent talent within themselves. And so thank you for allowing me to say a few words this afternoon.
My name is Courtney Power. I'm the Deputy Director of Workforce Development for Nexflex, and I'll be moderating this next portion of the program. I'd like my panelists to please come to the stage and take your seat with your name placard. While they are doing that, I'd ask you in the audience to draw your attention to the screen to hear another student's perspective on how the Flex Factor program impacted her.
When we first started this program, I wasn't very interested because I've been drawn to the arts my whole life, so I was very standoffish and I wasn't really interested. But then when we toured Boeing and the people from Nexflex started explaining what they do and what products they come up with, I became very interested. I saw different things I've never saw before. I've noticed that there's different types of engineers, not just the type that sit at the computers all day and don't do much, but there's different fields to being an engineer and stuff like that. And it opened up my mind to help me realize what I can do in my future.
So I am excited to welcome back to the stage Secretary Walsh, Dr. Ballinger, and Ms. Corrett. And joining them is Mr. Zachary Keel, Dr. Henry Cialone, and Dr. Tracy Albers. For the sake of time, I ask that you reference their biographical information in the program. So our discussion today is centered on what strategic investment for workforce development is, what it looks like, what it's been, and where it's going. So Secretary Walsh, I'll start with a question to you, sir. Can you comment on how STEM talent development is important to our nation and to the Department of Labor?
Yeah, there's no question about it. I mean, I think I tried to talk a little bit about my opening, but really we need to make sure as we think about reinvesting in manufacturing in this country, or any type of job for that matter, not just manufacturing, we have to strengthen our STEM education. When I first got sworn in as Secretary of Labor, one of the things that we did was I sat down with Secretary Gina Raimondo from Commerce. I sat down with Secretary Cardona from Education, and I said, if we truly want to prepare the workforce of the future and prepare our young people and our society to be ready for the jobs of what we need to, instead of operating in silos like people have done in the past, we need to collectively work together. So when we think about building a pre-apprentice program or apprentice program at the Department of Labor, we work with Commerce to see what businesses think about it. We work with Education to see how we can pass it along the way. Or if we think about investing in anything that we do. So I do think that, it's collaboration. The one thing that President Biden has asked us to do when we think about the government is think outside the box. And just for people to know, the representative here, state representatives here, you have to work with your colleagues in government to make things happen, and state representatives are probably the closest to the ground, to the people, and the same as mayors. When you think about cabinet level positions or you think about things in Washington, we're not necessarily on the ground all day. So it really is important for us that we collectively work together. And the beauty is that Secretary of Commerce, Gina Raimondo, she's the former governor of Rhode Island. I'm the former mayor of Boston, and Secretary Cardona was superintendent in education in Connecticut. So having those understandings and collectively working together and really focusing on the needs is what I think is important.
Thank you. And I think the panel demonstrated here today is really showing what community collaboration can look like, specifically here in Lorain County as well as in the state of Ohio. So for the panelists, do you care to share your thoughts on what we can do, what steps we can take to diversify and expand our STEM talent pipeline?
Well, I'll go ahead and start from an industry perspective. You know, historically, we have viewed STEM talent as predominantly engineering degree, computer science degree, 4 years, advanced with master's, doctorate degrees. But what we have found, and actually we are reinventing ourselves along this line, is some of our most innovative technical talent actually don't stay in school for 4 years to get that undergraduate degree. They can go contribute now, and they are innovating at a much earlier age. So we are actually changing what our job requirements are. We are eliminating the need for 4-year degrees in many of our positions. We're bringing in experiential learning. We're very focused on learnings that you get if you have served in the service. So recognizing the talent that our veterans bring us. Additionally, from a diverse perspective, what we continue to find is that we all tend to hire folks who are like ourselves. And so making certain as that we are recruiting, as we are hiring folks, that they have diverse slates, diverse opportunities, and the people who are hiring are diverse as well. Because studies will show that if you have a diverse panel who's interviewing and selecting, you're more likely to get diverse talent than if you don't. So that's just foundational what we're doing to change some of those opportunities and accelerate.
Can I jump in?
Absolutely, sir.
I think that when you think about diversity and having diversity in an industry, I think number one, if, for example, here in Ohio, I would go through, you have a mayor's collaborative. You guys meet and ladies meet and talk about different things. And don't be afraid to explain to young people that don't be intimidated by, you hear the company Boeing. I mean, I'm just using this example. Don't be intimidated by the name, thinking you have to be an engineer, electrical engineer to work there. Think about the opportunities of opening up the pathways and doors to that. I'm a first-generation immigrant. I'm a son of an immigrant. My mother and father came from Ireland. So college is kind of intimidating to me. And you know, my mother and father didn't know how to fill out the application to get me into college. I kind of went to college. I dropped out of college. I ended up going back to college. So I think that opening up these experiences, companies in the room, go into the high schools, talk to the kids when they're sophomores, talk to these young people here today, and ask them when's the right time to start explaining what you have in your company. That's how we'll get diversity in opportunities. That's how we will, and target areas that quite honestly, rural areas and target areas that are already diverse, so you don't have to go out and find somebody. You already go to a city, you go to Cleveland, you see the diversity in Cleveland. Just go find and explain what you're doing. If you're looking as far as the diversity aspect of diversifying workforces and getting more people engaged in the technology work of the future.
And if I could just add to that from a higher education perspective and a pipeline and building that, it's being very deliberate in terms of how you're designed. So one of the things that we've done at Lorain County Community College, and I'm delighted to see that Marcia Jones, who leads our career development, and Dr. Denise Douglas, who's here, who leads our Equity by Design initiative at the college and is a dean here, we have redesigned our career pathways and something that we call Career by Design here, so that we're ensuring that we proactively design our pathways and we work with our employers across the region so that students are informed about career opportunities, that we look at equity, diversity, inclusion. We look at what is the labor market value, and we are focused on what are meaningful outcomes in terms of what wealth is. And so that our Equity by Design, our scorecard, we monitor what that looks like, and we want to ensure that there are meaningful wages that are attached to that.
Just to compound on that a little bit, I mean, just 3 cheers for Cleveland here, but we're actually doing a really good job at this. So I run a small business in Avon Lake. These guys bring students from Lorain Community College, not just their STEM education, but they bring educators, they bring other administrative professionals into our facility. We give them tours. Ironically enough, Leanne and I were just talking, the company I run manufactures defense articles that are 3D printed for Boeing. So there's like a big full circle thing happening here, and it's really exciting that like what we need is exactly what you're describing. We need students that are engaged. We need students that have good skills with their hands, that are diverse in science and technology. But do we need PhDs and four-year degrees? Not either. We just need people who are excited to do kind of groundbreaking things, and that's what we're doing here. And there's lots of diversity in the manufacturing space in Cleveland. We're a supplier to many aerospace and defense companies, so there's a lot of like threads of activity happening that maybe weren't stated at the beginning, but I'm just now realizing, which is really exciting.
Mr. Q.
Yeah, if I could chime in briefly too. So I too am also I'm the CEO and founder of a startup tech company based in Dayton, Ohio. So we make health and safety monitoring technology, many of which Malcolm did a nice job showing some of the technology we're working to commercialize. But I truly think it comes down to this collaboration between academia, government, and industry. And I think Ohio collectively has done an excellent job. Specifically, I'll call on the state of Ohio actually recently released a equity, diversity, and inclusion internship program that specifically they will actually pay small businesses such as ourselves 75% of the wages to actually target some of these students. So it's been amazing for the doors to be opened, both financially and then also from the standpoint of opening the aperture of opportunity. So it's been, I think, honestly, Ohio's been a rock star in this regard. Certainly there's more work to be done, but I personally have seen it work firsthand, and it's been a great boon to our business.
Yeah, I definitely think we're here in Ohio for a reason. So you just mentioned, Mr. Keel, an opportunity where a challenge was overcome and there were steps taken. But what challenges still exist, and what steps can we take to fill in those gaps? What can we do? What partnerships and efforts are still needed to continue moving the needle forward for our STEM talent pipeline development?
Well, I would say we rely on partnerships with education organizations near our facility. So in Columbus, it's Ohio State, and it's Columbus State. In Buffalo, it's UB, Buff State. But also because we're on the east side of Buffalo, in an underserved community, in an area called the Northland Corridor, we have a very special relationship with something called the Northland Workforce Training Center. And they're taking kids from the neighborhood and teaching them how to become machinists and electricians and welders. And those relationships start with, let's try to collaborate on solving a problem, right? You build those relationships peer-to-peer, and then got any students who would like to earn while we learn? And we really rely heavily on internships. In the past, as long as everybody else is beating up on PhDs, I'll do it too. We led with competencies, and we wanted to know what you know and what was your education, what were your certifications. And we came around to having a saying, we hire you for what you know and fire you for who you are. So these days we flip it around. We want to know, can you work in a team? Can you collaborate with people? Can you communicate effectively? Can you manage your ego? And can you identify problems and attack them with vigor? And then, do you know what you need to know? If you don't, we'll teach you. So that's been a real turnaround for us.
I'd like to add on to what the Secretary shared, which is in terms of knowing what opportunities exist out there. Any of us sitting here on this panel, none of us knew what we were going to do when we grow up, and we're still trying to figure out what we're going to do when we grow up. And so we're limited by the world that we're exposed to and what we see. So the ability to partner with companies, the ability to partner with schools and see what is the art of the possible and have the only limitation be your imagination. That's really what the biggest opportunity here is. And I know for us from Boeing, those of us who've grown up in the company, we think everybody knows what we do, but people don't know. We build products from seabed to space. I mean, it is amazing what we're doing, and the opportunities encapsulate every type of profession possible. And by the way, we're hiring, so it's www.boeing.careers.com. Just saying. Was that subtle enough? Yeah, okay.
Chime in on the opportunity side is I looked at the students, and for the sake of redundancy, I'll say excellent presentations. I loved them. Sounds like there's some future biomedical engineers, shameless plug here. I have aged quite a bit in these last 10 to 12 years, growing up a family and a company, but I remember being you. I remember doing a research report on how I wanted to be a biomedical engineer in my junior year of college. Fast forward about 10 to 12 years. I know I look older than that, but it hasn't been that long. And now I've been fortunate enough to lead my own company focused on developing life-saving technologies. And I'm delighted to report that our platform has actually saved someone's life. So that dream and that vision, and ultimately that was inspired by a speaker who came to our hospital, or excuse me, our elementary school and ultimately our high school later, and really talked about the opportunities in some of these new career fields and really what could become of it. So I think that early integration into the potential workforce of the future is critical, and I know I have a personal story with that, and I'm sure there will be many to come.
So I guess I would like to jump on that and make a plug. One of the things that we have to do collectively as a manufacturing ecosystem is to make it clear to people who are going through school in the early stages of school that it's no longer a job that's dark, dirty, and dangerous. It's pretty cool, it's high tech, it's clean. You saw some of the stuff here that's just is typical of today's manufacturing. And you have to make that exposure happen very early. So, science fairs, after-school programs, take your kids to work day, all those things are really beneficial because it just exposes kids to options, and you guys can make good decisions.
And I think one other kind of connection there too is I think oftentimes, we were all students at one time, and as students we try and cordon ourselves into fields that we're akin to. So whether it be medicine or science or English or whatever it is, but the reality is in all of those fields there are products that are manufactured, and so there's a unique opportunity that's underlying to participate in many of those industries. I mean, even for a company like Boeing, they don't just make one thing. So there's a huge opportunity in manufacturing and understanding what manufacturing means to the world of medicine, or what manufacturing means to the world of space technology or sea efforts and things like that. So manufacturing there's no career that you sign up for that says, I'm going to go do manufacturing, right? You say, I'm going to go do whatever field, you're in nursing or whatever. But there are products that you need to enable that career to happen, and those products are made with people's hands most of the time, or with machines that are guided by people's hands. And they're clean, and they're really kind of transforming the world and how we experience the world today. So, and unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, those aren't careers that you see when you start school, right? It's, I want to be a doctor, not I want to be someone who manufactures technology that's going to change the way a doctor works every day. So those opportunities are certainly there. You just kind of sometimes find them by happenstance.
And that's a great point, Tracy, and that's what we're trying to eliminate at Lorraine County Community College by creating those experiential education opportunities. So we have built into our programs here that experiential education through that career pathways approach to it. But we also reach very deeply down into from middle school through high school, both through the College Credit Plus, which is a dual enrollment program where we're also doing career technical education in addition to what has been traditional transfer programs, but bringing students here and having them on campus. So again, through Elyria City Schools, thank you, Ann Schloss, our superintendent, we have an early college high school program here. And students are earning their associate's degree and their high school diploma at the same time, but they have the ability, that opportunity where, they're over here in this building, they're in science labs, and so they don't view it as manufacturing, or whatever a career is, other careers, they view it as they're immersed in those experiences, they're immersed in research. And providing those opportunities, I think, and working directly with employers and going out on site. And that's one of the reasons, Malcolm, why we love Flex Factor, because that's the connectivity to the employers as a part of it. And so for the employers who are here, you're all our partners, but getting other employers engaged and involved and volunteering that time to welcoming the students into the work site is valuable.
So I think Dr. Ballinger may have just answered my closing question to the panel, but as a closing questions, 10 seconds down the road to the panelists, what is your call to action to the audience gathered here today? What is the thing that you see as a gap? What would you suggest each of us do to build the STEM talent pipeline of the future?
I guess perhaps starting with me, yeah, I think I already answered it to some extent. It's really that, don't be fearful, right? I think there's a ton of opportunity, especially in Ohio. I'm sure we've all heard about the recent Intel announcement and how Ohio will hopefully become the next Silicon Heartland. I think there'll be a lot of great technology jobs, manufacturing jobs, and ultimately that line between traditional manufacturing, kind of the dirty aspect, hands-on, with technology is starting to blend and to really to blur. So I would just say I think a lot of innovative technology coming to the Ohio region, and I think there's a tremendous amount of opportunity for students that are willing to engage. So.
I think that was 30 seconds, so go
Sorry.
correct.
Sorry.
I'm simply going to say, from an industry perspective, we need to continue to pay it forward and reach out and engage and bring you all on board. Thanks.
Thank you. Secretary Walsh?
Contact your elected officials about the Bipartisan Inflation Act. It's a bipartisan bill. It is about the future. That's what we should do, because that's where major investment is going to happen all across our country to ensure more jobs and more innovation here in the United States.
Dr. Ballinger?
I don't have anything else to add other than, come visit Lorain County Community College.
Well, I'd like to double down on Leanne's comment that, you don't hear those invitations from every community college you come across. That very, very many of them continue to play keep away with industry. So you have an open invitation to come to Lorain County Community College. You ought to take them up on it. This is very unusual, so.
Thank you.
Great job.
And Dr. Albers?
Yeah, I guess speaking on behalf of the business leaders, 80% or so of you have a career. I guess my feedback would be to say yes, right? I mean, we all have incredibly busy lives between family and work and everything else, but say yes to the kid that wants to come visit. Take 20 minutes out of your day to take a student to lunch. I got to bring my kid to work one day because he still doesn't believe that I run a company that does 3D printing. So, sometimes he's like, that's way cooler than you, Mom. So, yeah, I guess pay it forward and say yes.
Well, we appreciate your yes to being on the panel today. And for the students who said yes to this program and to presenting today, anything that we said would pale in comparison to what you showed. So thank you.
All right, well, with that, I just want to thank everybody for attending. Thank you to all of our special guests, Secretary Walsh, all of our dignitaries who are here today, and to the Nexflex team, thank you for your continued partnership with Lorain County Community College, and all of you as we work to build the next generation of STEM talent. Thank you all very much.